Standing here at the Showboat Branson Bell.
Don't keep moving. I
was standing on something that was...
Move that way just a little more, because I'm getting the...
I got you.
33 people behind you so we don't see them.
Trent Burr. You know what, I'll just say...
And now from Color 10, breaking news.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. We will be beginning with breaking news out of the Branson area tonight, where a, quote, mass casualty incident is underway on Table Rock Lake.
We've confirmed that a Ride the Ducks tour boat has capsized on Table Rock Lake. 31 people were on board. We are told there are several casualties. Our Crystal Blair, who is based in Branson as one of the only Tri-Lakes television reporters there in the area, she was one of the first out there on the scene tonight. Crystal, what are you learning from Sheriff Doug Rader there tonight?
Well, right now, the sheriff says that there are 31 confirmed fatalities, and we do not, or I'm sorry, 31 people were on the boat. We do not know how many people were killed, but he did tell us that there were children on that boat. So right now, they're trying to find out how many people are left in the water, because we're told that they are still in that water. As of 15 minutes ago, As of about 15 minutes ago, the boat was still capsized on Table Rock Lake. The sheriff told us this happened around 7:30, and I asked him if it had anything to do with the storms. He is not confirming that, although he believes it did have something to do with the storms. Now, we do have a witness who saw everything happen. His name is Trent Burr.
Just tried to get her in there, and we started pulling her up, and I was yelling for people to get CPR and all these other things, and none of them knew. So I know CPR, so I was ready to go, but I kept yelling, we need to get CPR, and we finally pulled her back up there. And a gentleman, I believe he was an EMT, started CPR, and then they cleared us out.
Now, that gentleman who you just heard said that he was not moving on the Branson Bell, but they had just docked, and the duck boat had just gone out into the water. It wasn't that far away from him when he said it capsized, and he saw a couple of people come up under the boat, and just a very sad situation. We are waiting to get more information from the sheriff, who said that he would be giving us updates throughout the night. So please stay with Color 10 News. We will be bringing you that information as it becomes available. Reporting live in Stone County, Crystal Blair, Color 10 News, Ozarks.
Crystal, stay with us right now, if you would. We're going to ask you a question, but I do want to get something on the air real fast. We just got a confirmation from a woman who we know, who used to be an employee of Color 10, who now works for the hospital in Branson, which is Cox, right? It used to be Skaggs, of course. And they are confirming they are treating 6 patients at Cox in Branson, 3 under the age of 18, 3 adults, all minor injuries related to being in the water tonight. So again, they've got 6 people at Cox Branson, 3 under the age of 18, 3 adults, and minor injuries. So that's at least some good news with regard to those people right there at Cox tonight.
Crystal, while we have you there as well, can you describe the scene that is happening right now where you are?
Yes, right now emergency vehicles are still on the scene. If you look behind me, you can see a few of the lights there, and they're not letting us get to the water right now. We wanted to get a little bit closer so that we could get some shots for you, but they kind of have barriers set up so that we can't get to the water. But just a few minutes ago, there were some people who had family members on the boat that were waiting frantically, and then a few other people who were actually on and got out of the water safely that just walked away. As you would imagine, a lot of rattled nerves tonight.
We've been trying to make this clarification in this point, Crystal, for people who are watching us, that you guys are staging in an area down there that's the Showboat Branson Bell parking lot. This does not involve the Showboat Branson Bell. You're simply the staging area down there. I'm going to ask you one more question. Can you see, is that boat still capsized? Is it even in the water? Has it sunk at this point? Can you see anything from your vantage point?
Now, from where I'm standing, we cannot see anything because of all the trees. However, when we talked to Sheriff Rader about 30 minutes ago, he did tell us that the boat was still capsized and that it was sunk. So.
Okay. Crystal Blair on the scene for us live tonight. We also want to mention that the video that you saw roll over Crystal earlier while she was describing the scene was from Southern Stone County Fire Protection District. They are also on the scene there at Table Rock Lake. They did post some video, and we can see, here it is again, of some rescue boats rather on Table Rock Lake.
We know there are divers on the scene. Obviously, one thing working in the favor of the people that are affected here tonight, the water's not terribly cold. It's a sad situation. A lot of people are posting on social media about praying tonight, and that is obviously a feeling a lot of people are sharing right now. We do know that a woman who is related to someone who works at Color 10 happened to be on the showboat Branson Belle tonight as a tourist, and she was there when all this went down, and she took some video of what was happening there on the showboat as this was going down. And on the shore there, you see crews are attending to people who were likely rescued from the capsized Ride the Ducks boat there. Our witness, who is again related to someone who works at Color 10, was on the showboat Branson Belle, said she saw the Ride the Ducks boat go over. She saw it herself, and she's sharing this video now from the scene where obviously things are pretty chaotic tonight.
And again, just to recap you on what we were following tonight, at least 31 people on board a Ride the Ducks boat on Table Rock Lake when around 7:30 this evening it capsized. We know that this is a multiple fatality situation that authorities are working down there right now. Several people also, we got the update from the hospital.
Yeah, we did. We've got 6 people who are at Cox, which of course used to be Skaggs, it's now Cox, in Branson. 3 adults, 3 minors under the age of 18. They're saying those were all minor injuries tonight. But we do know that Southern Stone County is calling this a mass casualty incident, but we don't know the threshold at which they call it that. We don't know if that means 4 or more. We don't know the number, so that's information we're still trying to get tonight. Obviously, this may have been affected by the storm that rolled through. Jamie showed us the wind power. The sheriff's not saying that yet, but we do know there's other damage from these massive storm winds that came through the Ozarks tonight. We've got damage all over the place. We're going to show you some video of that.
Yeah, that's right. Let's take a look at some storms from across the Ozarks right now. We have strong winds that topple trees. This is at Lone Pine and Seminole right now.
Yeah, this is over there kind of on the southeast side of town, where you got a lot of very large, mature trees that are very tall there. So you get those kind of winds coming through that part of Springfield off of Lone Pine, and you're going to get some down trees there for sure. That is indeed the case there. We're going to move over and show you some other damage right now. This is the Roundtree neighborhood. Of course, a lot of very tall, old historic trees over there that are going to be susceptible to those heavy winds, because we know that at one point tonight we had some wind gusts of perhaps 70 miles an hour coming through some of these areas here in Springfield. Heather.
Yeah, and just not too far from this scene in downtown Springfield, take a look at this picture of the building here. Storms blew off the roof. This was a building downtown being remodeled. It had a roof on it. Of course, the wind just peeled it back really and caused some damage. This was in the 500 block of West McDaniel.
Power outages, too, a big concern for a lot of local utilities tonight. We're going to show you, this is the city utilities map right now. The purple shaded areas mean you've got between 1 and 50 customers out there. Yellow, 50 to 499. Orange, 500 to 999. So a lot of widespread power outages, perhaps not a lot of numbers with more of the purple there. Some of the electric co-ops that are serving Ozarks customers as well, if we can go to that next map right now, it'll also show you there are some affected areas there. Again, widespread power outages. Perhaps it looks like, Jamie, is that Stone or is that that's Taney, the orange, I couldn't tell. That's Taney down there in the orange, so they've got a lot of power outages that are being dealt with by co-op crews serving Ozarks customers tonight.
And as we bring you this weather coverage tonight, we actually received a lot of calls in our newsroom about hearing tornado sirens that were going off in the area. This wasn't a tornado warning event.
And we think of sirens as being tornado sirens, but they're really not. I mean, they're a siren, it's a civil defense siren. I mean, it could be any, major thing that the city needs to be warned about. In this case, it wasn't because they were concerned about tornadoes, it was because they were concerned about very, very strong winds that would impact a very large area. In fact, we had a peak gust of 74 miles miles per hour out at the airport, at the National Weather Service there. And it was that kind of wind energy that was making its way into Springfield. And that's why they were concerned that there could be excessive amounts of not only strong winds, but wind damage. And they went ahead and sounded those sirens, because even though these are straight line winds and not technically a tornado, because of the widespread and very strong nature of these winds, there was a very strong likelihood that there were going to be trees knocked down, tree limbs knocked down, and that there was going to be a lot of danger presented to the public across Springfield.
We hear those sirens, Jamie, again, this can be just because we've got heavy winds. I remember the derecho we had several years ago. I don't recall the sirens at that morning, but maybe they were sounded.
Their threshold is 75 miles per hour, so we were right there looking at wind gusts maybe of 70 to 80 miles per hour moving into Springfield. So they felt like that warranted sounding those sirens and letting people know this was a serious situation.
And Jamie, while we have you here, I also want to mention the incident that's going on at Table Rock Lake happened about the same time that these storms rolled through. The sheriff believing that the storms had something to do with this.
You guys mentioned 7:30. 7:30 seems a little bit late in terms of when the actual gust front went across that area. But the winds aren't just strong with the leading edge. The winds remain strong even behind that leading edge or gust front. And it looks like they probably had winds down there on the order of 55 to 65 miles per hour, at least in gusts.
We know that Southern Stone County was on the scene down there right after 7. So it probably would have been a little bit earlier when those strongest winds came through. We've got some photo galleries that people have been submitting pictures on through our website tonight, ozarksfirst.com, and our Facebook page as well. See the trees down. You know, we've come to expect this when this happens, and you get some of these older areas of town where you've got these very mature, very tall trees. They're going to be susceptible to these high winds that we have come through the Ozarks tonight.
And although we didn't get any tornadoes here in the Ozarks, up north in Iowa, just incredible video coming out. Several videos popping up online from our affiliates there showing tornadoes near the town of Bondurant. This is incredible video from our CBS affiliate in Des Moines showing tornadoes just moving through a neighborhood. If you get close enough, some of these videos, you can actually see debris flying around as well. Multiple tornadoes reported there with widespread damage.
This video here we're going to show you coming up shows tornadoes ripping through homes. You see the power transformers blowing there. It's just, it's hard to watch that sometimes, obviously. And finally, we're going to show you some of the damage from the storms as well there in Iowa. Cars piled up. That's very reminiscent to me of what I saw in Joplin many years ago. I mean, you just cars on top of cars and buildings torn to shreds there. No word on how much damage the tornadoes there in Iowa caused, but obviously those assessments will be coming in tomorrow.
And we have had a lot going on in the way of news and weather tonight, so make sure that you are up to date minute to minute. You can download our free Color 10 News app to get alerts sent straight to your phone.
And of course, we're going to be following the developing breaking situation with perhaps mass casualties involving a capsized Ride the Ducks boat at Table Rock Lake tonight, with much more information coming up as we learn it here at Color 10.
weather coverage right now. We want to take a look at a time-lapse video of the quick-moving storms that rolled in this afternoon. Just incredible. This was shot by a GoPro from our photojournalist Eric Reedus tonight.
And obviously things moved in quickly. I know when we got off the air at 6:30, I ran out in front of the station, and it was windy here. The main wind gusts had already come by us here on East Division. But, you know, again, we're waiting to get some confirmation as to how these storms may have affected what is unfolding down at Table Rock Lake tonight with the capsized ride, the Ducks boat there, Jamie. I mean, we knew this was going to happen, but I think maybe a lot of folks were taken by surprise tonight, too.
Well, the line of storms sort of gradually organized over southeast Kansas, made its way into southwest Missouri, and it was really right as the line was beginning to approach Greene County, as it was approaching areas like Walnut Grove and Ash Grove, that's when I really started to see a very strong signature for damaging winds. There was a surge in the line that was indicative that strong winds were starting to move out ahead of the main line of storms, and that's also when I started to see on our velocity data that we were starting to see winds, at least estimated by radar, of 60 to 80 miles per hour in that swath that was moving toward the Springfield area. Here's a look at our situation right now. You can see the severe weather threat has, for the most part, ended for the area. We still have a little bit of that line of severe storms making its way across north central Arkansas. That will make its way into Sharp County, and then we will be done with this line of severe weather. There's still going to be some potential for additional showers and isolated thunderstorms later on tonight. I'll get to that in a second. Here's a look at the radar loop of that line of severe storms as it was making its way across Greene County. And you can see that little bulge in the line right there as it goes back to the beginning of the loop. That is what I was talking about. That surge came with some very strong winds, winds that were estimated to be approaching maybe 80 miles per hour. This was a little off the surface, but a lot of that wind energy was making its way down to the surface, and we had a report of a 74-mile-per-hour gust out of the National Weather Service office. Now, down in Branson, it was a similar scenario. That line had matured. The winds were not as strong as what we experienced here in Springfield, but they were still strong. We likely had winds on the order of 55 to 65 miles per hour, and you can see it right there, that gust front blasting across the Branson area, blasting across Table Rock Lake, generating some very strong winds there. And the result of this line of severe storms, which, if you want the technical term, is called a progressive derecho, generate a lot of wind damage and a lot of strong wind reports, which extended from Kansas all the way southeast across southwest Missouri and the north central areas of Arkansas. Now, additional showers and thunderstorms are continuing to bubble up across southeast Kansas. Oftentimes when you get a line like this, it's going to leave behind a boundary, and we have a boundary about right in here. And so with air trying to move up and over the top of that shallow boundary at the surface, it's generating some spotty showers and isolated thunderstorms. So there is going to continue to be a risk of at least some more shower and thunderstorm activity. This is actually good news because the line of storms that came through, it generated a lot of wind, but not much rain. So we need more rainfall. We should have more opportunity at much needed rainfall throughout the overnight hours. Now, I think things will go quiet on Friday. They'll get very hot. And then as a cold front presses south across southern Missouri and into northern Arkansas, we should find additional storms firing up along the front. And those too could be severe with damaging wind and hail. Here's a look at our hour-by-hour forecast for tonight. Again, there will be that risk for additional scattered shower and thunderstorm activity, primarily over southwest Missouri and in northwest and north central Arkansas. Things go quiet tomorrow morning, and then additional storms will fire up near that front as it pushes south across the area. It looks like our rain chance is coming to an end Friday evening. Temperatures tonight cooling off into the low 70s. I'm going to go ahead and lower my low to, it looks like about 71 in Springfield. Temperatures tomorrow, again, if we can get some sun during the day, which I think we will, very hot. 97 in Springfield, but up near 100 across northwest Arkansas, and a 6 on our Colorado. And the pattern after Friday, after this active stretch of weather, will go quiet. It looks like we'll find lower humidity moving in by Saturday. It'll still be hot in the afternoon, but the mornings will be comfortable. The bad news is we need rainfall, and it looks like things are going to get dry and stay dry deep into next week.
Okay, and what's our Viewers Club number tonight?
That number tonight is 137-982, and our jackpot stands at $700.
All right, on the way, why domestic violence can sometimes increase in the summer months after this quick break.
Want to get to some more local news for you tonight. As the summer months heat up, so does the increase in domestic violence calls. According to Harmony House, a domestic violence shelter in Springfield, staff has seen a 15% increase in clients just this month.
Yeah, it's more than any other time of the year now for the past 3 years. Color 10's Bria Douglas tells us why tonight that summertime can be a contributor to family violence.
If there's one thing Lisa Farmer, executive director at Harmony House, knows, it's that the heat doesn't always bring out the best in people.
When we're hot, we tend to be more irritable and cranky, so it's the heat. There's more stressors in the summer.
Staff at the domestic violence shelter see a 40 to 50% increase in clients during the summer and fall months. Farmer says the hot weather mixed with more family interaction can contribute to violence.
Kids being home from school, there's more social activity that often involves alcohol, and so all of those things can combine to increase domestic violence or make it worse. It doesn't cause it.
Don't fall to violence. Step back and think about what you're saying, think about what you're doing. Calm down, maybe step away from the situation for a little bit. Time usually helps to settle a person down, to make them think a little more rationally.
Words of advice from Lieutenant Coley Wilson with Springfield Police on how to de-escalate a potential violent situation in the heat of the moment. He too says the department routinely sees an increase in domestic violence calls during the summer months.
This is a 6-year average. For example, November, the average for that 6 years was 227 calls for service, which were for domestic violence. That was in November. Comparing that to July, 255 for July was the average for those 6 years. So 30 more calls average in July compared to November.
Over at Harmony House, Farmer and her team stays ready to help victims of domestic violence, especially when the summer can cause more rooms to fill up.
Trying to accommodate as many people as we can.
That was our Bria Douglas reporting. And if you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship and needs shelter, the 24-hour Harmony House hotline is 417-864-7273.
All right, we have more news on the way. An old river relic in the Ozarks has a new lease on life. We'll tell you about that next. But first, this week's Ozarks hero.
Get out of here, dude.
Is the same
Huh?
wall that you had for the tag, is it the same for the intro?
No, the intro is a map.
No, the intro is a map.
Reporter, it doesn't matter. You can do a reporter wall, preferably full wall.
Hold on.
Okay. I said reporter wall in the script. Is it the small? Is it the small thing or is it the full? I think I put reporter wall in the script. Can you make it the full wall? That would be clutch.
We want to get back to our top story and breaking news at this hour that a Ride the Ducks boat has capsized. Here's an update.
Sheriff, how many people do you believe are still looking for at this time?
We do not know exactly.
And the people that were taken to the hospital, what are their injuries like at this time?
I do not know.
Can you confirm the boat capsized because of the weather?
I believe it was caused by the weather, yes.
Okay. Was the boat doing anything out of the ordinary to your knowledge that would make it more vulnerable to sudden wind?
Not that I know of.
Do you know what time the boat left the dock?
I do not.
And the boat turned over and sank, is that what happened?
That is correct. It capsized and sank.
Do you know if all the fatalities and injuries are believed to be because of drowning?
Yes. I believe so, yes.
I just wasn't sure if somebody like fell off the boat or hit their head or something like that.
Yeah.
Were you able to rescue anybody without any injuries?
There was actually a Stone County Sheriff's deputy on the boat. He was in the water rescuing people. There was also some of the staff from Branson Bell, I believe, and trying to help the rescue.
Sheriff, could you kind of just recap again? We just went live and let us know again what you just said briefly.
At this time, we have 8 confirmed fatalities. 7 have been transported by TCAD. And that's pretty much where we're at right now.
You said that the dive teams are Taney County dive teams.
The Western Taney County dive team's in the water right now. The Missouri Highway Patrol dive team is on their way here.
Is the boat still in the water now?
The duck is still in the water, yes.
When you say in the water, is it sunk or is it?
It's sunk.
Okay.
I don't know for sure how deep it is where the duck is at.
But the confirmed fatalities were from drowning?
I believe so, yes.
Any idea how old the boat was?
I do not.
How big of an area are you guys searching at this point?
That's up to the dive team, and I said when the Highway Patrol dive team gets here, that'll all be up to them.
You said a deputy was on the boat. Was he there for recreation, or was he part of the?
We produce off-duty security on the Branson Bell.
Given you don't know how many people you're looking for necessarily, how challenging is that for dive teams?
It's going to be a challenging night and tomorrow.
Are you in contact with the company that owns the duck?
Yes.
Have they given any response to you so far? Or?
We were working on them, trying to coordinate, like I said, any family member. City Hall. If you're missing a family member, or if you was on the duck, City Hall.
Can you confirm, Sheriff, if any of the fatalities were children?
I'm not going to say at this time.
Is this still considered a rescue mission, as to recovery?
Rescue and recovery, yes. Any other questions?
Not this time. Thank you,
Terry. Okay. Thank you.
You've been listening to a live press conference there with Sheriff Doug Radar, who does say there are 8 fatalities confirmed, 7 people transported. We know there were 31 on board, so we've got 16 people, I'm guessing, who are unaccounted for at this point.
That's right, and we'll be right back with more information.
County.
Okay, we're both in our light. There you go.
Can you tell Robert, don't say everything that I'm going to say in the in the intro, because then I won't have. Okay, good. He heard.
So we're back live covering that breaking news on Table Rock Lake, where a Ride the Ducks boat has capsized and people have died tonight.
We just heard in a news conference, Crystal Blair is live on the scene from us. Crystal, what did you learn in that news conference?
Well, Heather and David, what we did not want to learn, and that's 8 people dead. There were 31 altogether on the Ride the Ducks boat. 8 are dead, 7 injured, taken to the hospital. He would not confirm if any of the ones who have died are children. He did say this, though, that Western Taney County dive teams are still in that water. The boat is still in the water, and it has sunk. Now, if you're a family member who had someone on the boat and you want to know what happened, you can go to Branson City Hall. They have set up a post there for anyone missing a family member. Reporting live in Stone County, Crystal Blair, Color 10 News, Ozarks First.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Crystal, and ask you a question because you were there and heard. Maybe you didn't hear this answer or not. We have 8 fatalities. We've got 7 transported, 31 confirmed on board. That means 16 people that we're talking about right now. Do we know, are some okay on the shore? Do we know if they're missing? Did he say anything about the other 16 people involved here?
Now, that's the question that we wanted to know. He did not say that, but I can tell you that I know there were some people I saw with my own 2 eyes who did make it off of that boat. They were walking off into the parking lot with other family members who were waiting. They were drenched, of course, but how many, I do not know. So we just don't know how many people that they're still looking for.
So a question still to be answered, obviously. Okay.
All right. Crystal Blair live for us at Table Rock Lake tonight with the very latest. We are going to keep following this story, and we will have much more on it coming up at Color 10 at 10 o'clock over on Color 10.
25 minutes from now, we're back on the air with more updates on this developing story over on Channel 10. So be sure and join us for now. We're in the studio for Color 10 News. Thanks for watching.